Right, time to get back to the company that needs help. A company that we have no personal motivation to help outside of just opening up another path to let us keep making progress around here. And good God, excuse me for thinking that the rockets patrolling outside the building should have gotten some kind of radio message about the kid who started slapping their guys around inside of it. And that these guys should be able to recognize the kid who had the balls to invade their headquarters. I mean, it's not like we did anything to change our appearance since last time we dealt with the rockets after all. This is just... ugh. Well done, sir. You spotted someone who wasn't even trying to be subtle. Bloody hell. Really wish I didn't feel so much more capable than the enemies we have to deal with at this point in the game. Granted, I know that the rocket grunts are supposed to be easier compared to Giovanni himself, but still, I don't think I'm especially worried about dealing with their boss when we finally get to him either. Especially since we beat that guy already in his own home base. And we're gonna have to fight him again for a third time even after we're done in this building. Wonder why I have no problem fighting our rival multiple times over the course of the game, both of us getting stronger with each time, but I have a problem with us dealing with the closest thing to a main villain in this game repeatedly. It's not like the writing has even been trying to give either of them much in terms of credibility. I mean, we've beaten them repeatedly. Though now I can't help remembering that in the Twitch plays of Pokemon Red, Giovanni was an absolute monster for the convoluted player base to get through. He was the ultimate villain of that particular playthrough. So much more of a pain than anyone else. For so many reasons, it was actually kind of epic. Well, we're calling the boy Jack for this playthrough, but you may know him better as Red, the only player character in the entire franchise who will show up again in a later game outside of something crazy like the Battle Tower. Great. Now I'm trying to think when the Battle Tower was introduced into the series. Not that I'm sure I'll even get into the Battle Tower when we get to a Pokemon game in a generation with it, but hey, it's certainly fun to watch more competitive people go through that. Of course, it's also infuriating since the game designers proved, through the implementation of that sort of thing, that they can make non-player trainers difficult to deal with. So the fact that people have been complaining the Pokemon series has been annoyingly easy from one generation to the next for so long, you'd think they'd implement some of that sort of thing into the main story to give the players some wake-up calls that don't feel random or unintentional like Eradicate back in Mount Moon. Well, Drowsy certainly didn't last long, despite the fact we didn't have anything super effective against Psychics. That's certainly promising for when we finally get to Sabrina's gym. Kinda wish I knew if we're gonna get to her in 2 or 3 clips from now, though. I know, we absolutely have to use the various teleporters in order to get to the end of this maze, but excuse me for checking what we can get to without using those things first. For one thing, it's an excuse to be as thorough as possible, and not miss any of the rockets we can use to help make our Pokemon a bit stronger. Right, too much to hope we would find a way to sneak by that rocket and see what's behind him without going through the teleporter. Ah, finally a Pokemon that's higher leveled than the Snorlax from earlier. shame he still didn't manage to have a chance to take a shot at us, but still, I'll take what I can get. Yeah, pretty sure that rock slide left some dust in the air. I'd ask why he bothered to give us that bit of random trivia, but then most of the lines from other trainers around here just throw away garbage anyway. At least it's more excusable than the crap on that notepad we checked earlier. Such a level difference around here between a man who has only one Pokemon and one who has two. Well, good job, sir. You've convinced me that we need to hit the Pokemon Center. Good job on the level up there, Mobbleback. 87's a good score for you to take a break on. I don't think that barrier's gonna do you any good. Yeah, that defensive move was a complete waste given the kind of bite Taki has, and this is before Bite became super effective against Psychics. Well, hopefully it's a better report than just you can evolve by trading. And then Porygon was promptly taken over by a Digimon, and then things started getting complicated as we tried to blend two similar but different franchises together. Sorry, I'm not sure where that joke came from, but eh. Must be tough to experiment with Pokeball tech when there aren't many wild Pokemon that's tested on in the lab. Just how do you test that sort of thing before it's at this stage of catching living creatures anyway? Not that there'd be much point in showing us how Pokeballs are tested before they're ready for production. It's not like this is a series that tries especially hard to make the world as thoroughly explored and understood as possible. It's just amazing how little the world sounds like it's really grown outside of just more Pokemon inhabiting it, and some of them being in charge of outright cosmic forces. You'd think we'd get some more actual details after all these decades. Come on, pal, at least try to take Takanabori down to the double digits here. Make me regret becoming complacent. Okay, managed to just put us under the 3 digits. Really says something that I disappointed just how little damage the enemies we've been running into have been able to pull off in the average battle against everyone other than Garm. Oh, come on, you had an electric type out and you didn't try to electrocute the Pokemon that's water and flying type? Bit of a wasted opportunity, yet for some reason, someone else was trying to electrocute our crowd poison type earlier on. I know this game's rather limited AI picks moves via a lottery, but come on, you'd think they'd get lucky a few times. You heard correctly. Too bad that won't help you in the slightest. snake versus snake battle sounds kind of interesting on paper, but then Takanabori has a certain size advantage for this. Again, the gameplay doesn't really do much with the cannon sizes, and this was rather one-sided in our favor anyway. But still, Cobra versus Water Dragon is not what I would call a fair fight, even if it was a one-on-one encounter. Considering how many fights we've had with Team Rocket in this game, it's hard for me to be in any way intimidated by them. Especially since it's not like these guys have even actually tried to do any kind of retaliation against the player character. They're just taking their lumps as we take whatever little initiative we're actually allowed. Well, good for you, but it's gonna take more than hearing that you have 3 brothers to make me give a damn. Right, definitely going to the Pokemon Center when this fight is over. Again, sorry Garm, but if anything, our little hell puppy is having so much trouble. It's actually helping to make some of these battles a little more interesting to me. Funny how that works out. As tempting as it might be to keep Garm out to try to get some more experience, the fact is he's already too worn down for the evolved form of the same line of Pokemon he just got slapped by. Apparently, Karate Chop has the same crit rate as Razor Leaf around here. Right, that makes 94 for Kawaku and 580 for the team as a whole. Not much of a meaningful avenging if you're still alive to bitch about losing. But again, maybe I'm just way too used to more gritty settings. I seriously don't know what's making things especially hard to get invested in what's going on in the game right now. Is it the bare-bones storytelling, or the way the difficulty curve just makes this one of the easiest sections of the game? And back up the bloody tower. As much as I'd like to just outright skip a hell of a lot of footage, if not just outright go to another game altogether, it's still kind of funny that when I'm actually playing, I have a lot more patience than when I'm coming up with a commentary. When I'm actually playing, the amount of dead time is kind of relaxing, like a form of meditation. But, yeah, when I'm commenting, the dead time is excruciating. As a side note, lady, this is a Pokemon world, and it doesn't look like either of you have any means to battle the Rockets. Otherwise, we'd have seen some bits where the employees try to fight back against the criminals who are outright seizing their building and all of their research. Definitely makes me wonder why I bother trying to talk to everyone when so many of the people have so little to actually say in this game. Little hard to betray a group you were never part of. Hell, we didn't even have a temporary moment of wearing a Team Rocket uniform in order to cause some chaos in the Rocket base. We just walked in. Why do I get the feeling the next Pokemon's gonna be a Golbat? Ah! Apparently I gave the guy too much credit. Well, that could have easily gone worse if that confusion was a bit more unlucky. And now he's sending out a bloody Golbat finally. Sure, if my count is right, then this is the 583rd trained Pokemon we've dealt with, so it's literally impossible for us to deal with all that many Pokemon that we aren't familiar with already in this generation. Still, Team Rocket, their entire shtick is that they try to steal rare Pokemon, and we've been seeing nothing but common ones among these bastards. Ugh. Again, bit of nonsense that feels like it's just there to fill the game with some more text. Now, is there anyone else on this floor to deal with? Well, you apparently weren't sent there just yet. And now I'm wondering just how many more Pokemon generations before we get a Russia region. Is it just me, or do the scientists seem to like the round Pokemon? Granted, I know absolutely everyone needs a gimmick of some kind to help the game designers come up with teams for them, but again, there's quite a bit of repetition, especially in a game that gives the player so many advantages. It's just strange that a lot of the series that Nintendo tends to make have some pretty difficult entries, except for the biggest moneymaker they've got. Hell, Mario has had a number of toughies in his franchise, and he's supposed to be among the most accessible for people to pick up and get into. And I've heard Kirby is generally easy, but I've never really been able to get into it. And the few times I've tried, it has felt a little difficult at times for me. Looks like we're sending Garm back to the medics again. He's got 59 wins, he's no slouch, but dear God, his health drains more frequently than anyone else on the team, and he doesn't hit as hard as anyone else. He's on a team with a bunch of tanks and heavy hitters. It's amazing he's doing as well as he has. He's certainly overtaken Nim's impressive score of 50.5, and he's pretty close to Neo's 64. And that does it for this battle. Probably shouldn't say shoot to someone who's done so many war games, buddy. Especially someone who's gone through a few different versions of Stalingrad, and who actually wouldn't mind a Pokemon game set in Russia-inspired locations at some point or another. After all, we've had France, England, Hawaii, America, and 3 different Japanese regions so far. I'm pretty sure there would be more ice types than the other regions in a Poke Russia, and who knows? We might actually get some interesting secondary typings for the starters that aren't repeats of some of the ones we've seen so many times before. Not that the first generation had too many secondary typings other than frickin' Bulbasaur and the poison, as well as grass. Right, on to the next floor. And apparently the 4 brothers all have the exact same line to start the battle off. I know, technically speaking, that just because we saw half of them repeat the same line, doesn't mean the other half will, but considering the amount of filler lines the various trainers have, yeah. if he had thrown that club since the start, then he probably could have actually taken Garm down altogether. And there's not a chance in hell I'm leaving Garm to take 2 Cubones back to back, even if I'm not convinced the enemy knows how to really use them. But then who am I to talk about efficiently using Pokemon when I sometimes don't use the super effective moves that we've got? Oh, don't worry, the entire family is gonna share the feeling with you before we're done in this building. Well, we left our rat back in the box, I'm afraid. Might want to get your nose checked. Oh, so you were smelling your own Pokemon then. Hope you don't mind as we take him down. Remember when Eradicate using Hyper Fang would have been one of the scariest things we'd see? Granted, the Eradicate that gave us trouble was so much closer to our level than that poor rat there, but still. Well, Garm is certainly on a roll against this guy. Yeah, not pushing our luck any further with Garm. Hell, probably gonna go to the Pokemon Center as soon as this battle is done. Not really a surprise when we slammed a rock into an oversized bat. True, but it won't hurt to deal with everything we can get to without the teleporters first. At the very least, it's given us some experience that'll lead to our team being at least a little stronger by the time we get to the boss at the end of this teleporter maze. Sorry, but we've already established that all the scientists in this place are pro-Rocket, which is probably gonna make things rather awkward in the office when we've kicked Team Rocket out and the scientists find they just pissed off the man paying their checks. Ugh. Sorry there, Garm, but I somehow doubt going to the Pokemon Center before this battle would have prevented you from being taken down by that blast. Yeesh. Why in the hell would I switch Pokemon when we just switched them due to Garm getting knocked out? Right, and with that, it's time for us to head back to the center and do some healing. Wish I could appreciate the compliment, but just looking at the kinds of things other Pokemon Let's Players do, I'm nothing special. Still, hope anyone watching enjoyed this clip and has enjoyed the ride to this point so far. If only I knew just how much longer this ride is going to go on for this particular game.